I've never seen this kind of hatred. I watched Jared Holt from Right Wing Watch call one of my black supporters a stupid N-word. Gee, that's real tolerant for you leftists. I guess you can't fathom the idea of an African American who holds conservative views. That's not allowed.
Well, what's happened is they've learned they're allowed to say and do things that nobody else can.
It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Going out to a restaurant here trying to eat, I've basically given up on it. I'm forced to eat in an undisclosed location in my room because every time I try to go outside to even shoot a video or for fresh air or to even smoke a cigar, God forbid, I'm confronted by some crazed leftist who wants to kill me. Not just yell, you're a Russian traitor, you're a Russian spy, but people who want actual fisticuffs.
InfoWars. Tomorrow's news today.
So if our president can grab a woman by the pussy, I can grab you by the balls.
She just grabbed my dick. Is that sexual assault?
No, bye.
Is that sexual assault?
Yes.
So you just sexually assaulted me?
I did assault
you.
you.
Should you be arrested?
Arrest me.
Well, I'm not going to arrest you.
There are police officers right here. But
So look at this. Women have so much privilege, she can sexually assault me and get away with it.
So we were talking about these crazy leftists. I told Owen a week and a half ago when he was at the Women's March, this woman brutally grabbed his crotch. He said it hurt pretty bad off air. He didn't want to act like a wimp. He's not. That, it was assault. And I said, well, you should tell the police. Well, turns out they found out his name somehow. They called him, and she's been arrested yesterday. And Owen got the call today. He did a video on it. It's on Infowars.com. Breaking liberal woman who grabbed InfoWars host by the crotch and said, I just assaulted you, has been arrested. And look, in another world, I wouldn't want her arrested for that. But the fact that she's so arrogant, this is just what she deserves.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it shows a double standard, and it shows this sort of reckless rogue conduct of individuals who think they can do anything they want, anytime they want. People who have a Harvey Weinstein mentality. It's not a surprise that Harvey Weinstein himself comes from the left. It's the same mentality, just applied in different context.
Roger, what do you make of your co-host of the War Room having a guy eat his microphone yesterday, and now this woman that assaulted him sexually, she's been arrested?
Well, first he tried to spit on him, and then he tried to eat his microphone. Alex, this is kind of reminiscent of the scene yesterday outside the U.S. District Courthouse. In 50 years in politics, I've never seen this kind of hatred, pushing, shoving, screaming, spitting. When I got in the car, spittle completely rolling down the window, people pounding on the car, pounding on the car. I'm very grateful to the police officers from the D.C. Metropolitan Police and to the federal marshals who got me out of the building in one piece. This reminded me of Vice President Richard Nixon in Caracas, people rocking the car before we pulled away. Thanks to the head of my security team, I got out of there with my skin. I wanted to make a statement. There were, 40 microphones out front, but I don't want to be Jack Ruby'd, to be quite honest with you. And these people are perfectly capable of it. I'm also on probation under the supervision of the court, and it's been made very clear that if I so much as spit on the sidewalk, I will be immediately incarcerated. I'm sure that Mr. Mueller would like nothing better. So I've never seen this kind of hatred. I watched Jared Holt from Right Wing Watch call one of my black supporters a stupid N-word. Gee, that's real tolerant for you leftists. I guess you can't fathom the idea of an African American who holds conservative views. That's not allowed.
Well, what's happened is they've learned they're allowed to say and do things that nobody else can.
It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Going out to a restaurant here trying to eat, I've basically given up on it. I'm forced to eat in an undisclosed location in my room. Because every time I try to go outside to even shoot a video or for fresh air or to even smoke a cigar, God forbid, I'm confronted by some crazed leftist who wants to kill me. Not just yell, you're a Russian traitor, you're a Russian spy, but but people who want actual fisticuffs. This is where we are in America. This is what I'm looking for, the time between now and which I go to trial. So it is only through the help of many, many, many info warriors and other patriotic Americans going to stonedefensefund.com that I can afford security. Alex has helped me with security to save my life, and the lawyers it's going to take to push back, as Mr. Barnes has said. Unlike Paul Manafort, who's a friend of mine and who was unfortunately convicted, I will mount a very vigorous defense because I am not guilty. And watching Governor Chris Christie, who hasn't read the transcripts of my testimony before the House Intelligence Committee, which comprises 5 of the 7 counts, and who hasn't read the context of any of the emails, which are wildly taken out of context to fabricate this indictment, is ready to declare me guilty. It's a done deal. I should just plead and maybe even testify against the president, which I'm not going to do.
We know you're not going to do that. Closing out here before you take over with Robert Barnes. I mean, I've said, how do we make it about what they're doing? I can't see how Mueller's involved with the uranium one and the Russians and how they get away with this. Mueller doesn't want to lose. How do we let him know he's going to lose? You were surprised they even went after Roger because it's not a very good case.
No, as a general rule, Mueller generally avoids prosecutions that are losable cases. He avoids bringing him against certain kinds of lawyers. He avoids bringing him against certain kind of defendants. So I think that the fact that they brought this, maybe he just sort of delegated it to the Clinton lawyers that are part of the team that's against Roger. Maybe that's what's going on. But I was surprised because this is not a strong case. This is entirely a process case. This case would not exist but for Mueller's investigation and the congressional investigation. The extravagant stretch to make this an obstruction case is very marginal on its face. And then the various perjury charges, there's no such thing as really perjury to Congress, frankly, if you've ever heard a congressional question, because it's usually got 18 different subcomponents. If this happened, then this happened, then this thing, and then what if you did this? And so they're interpreting something that's extrapolating from something that's interpreting something else that they're going to call that perjury. This makes the Barry Bonds case look like the dream perjury case of all time. So it's a bad case. It's a weak case. It's only being brought because he thinks he can control who the judge is, and he thinks he can control and have a very liberal jury, and he thinks that that will be enough to railroad Roger. And it's good to hear that Roger's going to mount a defense and a strong defense, but it's a case that really shouldn't have been brought by an ethical, honest prosecutor only pursuing truth.
Do you think Roger is the last hors d'oeuvre?
I think because Democrats took back the House, they think they can transfer this sort of constant inquisition into the Democratic committee members. And I think people like Adam Schiff and others, they think can effectively take over for Mueller. Mueller doesn't like to be in the constant middle of this. He's done an effective job covering up the various corruption and collusion that took place with the intel agencies during the Obama administration and spying on our first presidential candidate during a campaign. For all the accusations against Richard Nixon, he never did anything like that and was ever accused of doing anything like that, using the FBI, using the CIA.
And they've diverted from Hillary and the Russians, so his job's done.
Correct, exactly. He's done his cover-up
And
campaign.
like you said, every time Trump doesn't go along with the neocons, suddenly Mueller flares up.
Precisely. He's done his cover-up job for Comey and crew and what they did. And I assume that Roger's the last sort of lackey for him to be able to prosecute, the last sin goat that he can offer to the political establishment, the last person the Democratic media has hated for a long time as an excuse to cover for what he was really up to, which was cover up. And Roger's prosecution is almost entirely a distraction from the fact that he was really there that the Mueller's investigation was there to cover up for the institutional corruption of the hierarchy of the NSA, the CIA, and the FBI that was politicized and weaponized under Obama in the last year against President Trump. That's what it's all about. That's why he put Roger under massive macroscopic and microscopic scrutiny, and all you come up with is an extrapolation of a perjury claim of a process crime that's weak on its face. That shows you how weak their claims were and their charges were. And it was all just done to cover up the collusion and corruption of the institutional operation against President Trump during the campaign.
Infowars.com, tomorrow's news today. Roger Stone takes over on the other side in the war room. 3 to 6 p.m. is coming up with Owen Schroyer, Rob Dew, and others hosting from D.C. and Austin, Texas. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. I want to thank all listeners for your support. Spread those articles, spread those links. Without you, the censors win. Robert Barnes, thanks for joining us. It's been amazing.
Absolutely.
The scientists at InfoWars Life have created a powerful formula for inflammatory support and joint support. Discover the power of ancient medicine with Bodies. Bodies contains one of the most potent forms of turmeric available. Turmeric has been used for thousands of years and is one of the most studied herbals today. It is well known in traditional medicine for its soothing properties. Our pure turmeric extract plus piperine from black pepper makes for optimal absorption to help boost and support your flexibility, mobility, joint function, immune system, and so much more. Regular turmeric root from the store only contains 1 to 5% of active ingredients, but our turmeric root extract contains over 95% of the active ingredients. Bodies combines turmeric with organic herbs such as spearmint, sage, lemon balm, and thyme to work synergistically for full body support. Try Bodies today at InfoWarsLife.com or call us at 188-253-3139.